Hello and welcome back. We're still working on Sabotage. We're going to wrap things up pretty quick though. We have added the routines for detecting the end of the game, and so now we need to have the whole ending sequence. So the ending sequence will have the paratroopers running into the building and blowing it up. To do that, we're going to have to notify the paratroopers that that's what they need to do. So in the air traffic controller, we're going to add some items to the script. We've made some changes to the check for game end condition. If we do detect that the game is ended, we're going to go through all the troopers again. Any trooper that was on the winning side, we're going to set a variable called destroy building. So this will alert all the troops to destroy the building. So we're going to have to add some code to the trooper controller. So let's edit the trooper controller script. We've added this public flag destroy building, which will get set by the air traffic controller. In the update routine of the trooper, in the section where we are on the ground, we'll check for this flag destroy building. If it's true, we're going to move our character towards the 0 position, which is where the building's at. So if we're to the left of the building, we're going to add some movement to the X position. And if we're to the right of the building, we're going to subtract so that we end up at the 0 position. When we do get to that position, we're going to destroy the trooper so he disappears from the screen. Now, while they have the win condition set, it will not check for falling troops, so there's no way for them to be destroyed. They will be invulnerable during the win condition. So let's give this code a try and see how it looks. Okay, here comes the troopers, and they're running into the building. Oh, they're all running into the building. Good. Now we need to do the earth-shattering kaboom. We're going to destroy the cannon and shoot out fireworks from the top. Once the troopers start running into the building, we need the cannon to be disabled and to disappear. So let's go to the cannon control script. So in the update routine in the cannon controller, we will look at the air traffic controller object to see if the game end flag has been set. So we will check the Y position to see if it's greater than -4.5. If it is, then we will subtract from it slowly to give the look of the cannon lowering into the building. During this time, we have disabled the cannon so it won't move and it won't fire. While we're in the cannon controller, let's add a little quality of life feature to this. In the start routine, we're going to hide the cursor. We do that by simply setting the cursor.visible boolean to false. We'll still be able to move the cannon, it's just the arrow won't be on the screen. Let's give this code a try. We had to change the render order of the cannon so that it's inside the building. So select the cannon object from the scene, and in the sprite renderer, we're going to change the order in layer to -1. The building happens to be in the default layer also, but in the order 0. So now the cannon should be behind the building. There, the cannon lowered into the building. Before we move on, we're going to have to fix a small bug. Right now the score isn't scaling up with the screen, so if you play this at a maximum size, the score is hovering above the cannon. So we need to go to the canvas and change a setting in the canvas scaler. Set the UI scale mode to scale with the screen size, and change the reference pixel per unit to be 72. Now the score is where it should be. So now we need to create the fireworks that go off when a trooper runs into the building. So let's create a particle system. Select Game Object, Effects, Particle System. Let's change this particle system to be named Fireworks. And let's move the fireworks on top of the cannon. And we'll zoom in a bit so we get a good look at it. I'm going to open the particle editor and move it here to the side so we get a good view of the editor and the particles and the control panel. So I'm going to be going through these settings pretty quick. Let's change the lifetime of the firework to be a random value between two constants, 1 and 1.5. And the start speed between 12 and 16. Start size to 0.2. And the start color, a random value between two colors. That's to a bright yellow to a bright red. Turn on the gravity modifier to 1.5. Turn off looping and set the stop action to destroy. In the emission panel, we're going to put 0 in the rate over time, and we're going to add a burst. We're going to burst one particle 5 times, a third of a second apart. Under shape, we're going to change the cone angle to be 20% and the radius to be 0. Let's see how this looks a couple times. I think that looks pretty good. Now we're going to create another particle system, and we're going to call this one burst. So for the burst, we're going to do the start lifetime between 1 and 1.5. The start speed is 5. We're going to set the start size to 0.2 and the gravity to 1. Under emission, we're going to set the rate over time to 0, and we're going to add a burst between 30 and 60. We're going to change the shape from a cone to a sphere with a radius of 0, and we're going to adjust the color over lifetime to a gradient. So we set the right flag to 0 alpha, and we move the left flag to the middle with an alpha of 255. Now we go back to the firework particle, and under sub-emitters, we will set a sub-emitter upon death of the main particle and set it to burst. You'll get a warning about reparenting the burst particle. Select yes. We're going to have the burst particle inherit the color. I think that looks pretty good. There's lots of improvements you can do to the fireworks, but it would take way too much time for this episode. We're going to have the troopers launch the fireworks when they go inside the building. So we need to turn the firework into a prefab, and then we'll remove the firework from the scene. In the trooper controller, we added a game object for the firework. So in our destroy the building section of the trooper controller, whenever we enter the building and destroy the trooper, we'll instantiate a firework object. Let's give this code a try. So back in Unity, we need to select the trooper prefab, and in the trooper controller, we need to assign the firework object to the trooper. Now he has a firework to launch. Let's give it a try. Well, that's pretty exciting, but to be honest, it's like watching a silent movie. We really need to add some sounds. But we'll have to save that for next episode. If you like this episode, please subscribe. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.